We're now ready to look at a very nice improvement in surface modeling, and that is the ability to create boundary patch with a rail. On the screen, you can see the exercise file I have open, and if you rotate to look at it from the right view, you can see that this is essentially a surface model that was a cylinder that I've made some modifications, and I've made some indentions where your fingers might be able to fit. And what we're going to do here is use this to complete a basic grip. This could be a grip that you see on a shifter knob in a car or on the top of a lever on a machine, for example. And we're going to use surface modeling to turn this into a solid model and then apply mechanical modeling operations. Let's begin by starting our boundary patch. You can do this from the 3D Model tab under the Surface panel here on the toolbar. I'm going to start my boundary patch, and what I first need to do is select the initial loop that we're going to use for the boundary patch, and I'm going to use the top edge of this surface model. And you'll see when we select that, the top is just simply capped off. If you rotate, you can see it's completely flat. And that might be fine, but in this case, we want a more rounded top to the knob of this grip. Now, rather than using a flat capped surface, I'm going to use a G2 smooth condition. What this means is that Inventor is going to continue the surface grip all the way up into the boundary patch in a perfectly smooth fashion. And you can see by changing that, I now have, rather than a flat capped surface, it's bulging and creating the boundary patch to maintain that surface continuity. But that's not exactly what I want. You can see it's clearly not touching the sketch rail. But if we use the new option for guide rail, we can select that sketch, and you can see that that surface is dragged or pulled up to that line and runs along it. I'm going to select OK, and you can see our boundary patch is created, and I'm going to quickly finish up, just so you can see how we could turn this into a solid model and use it, is I'm going to right-click again and select Repeat Boundary Patch. This time I'm going to select the bottom loop. I'm going to select OK because I simply want that flat. Now we have a watertight surface model that we can use to stitch together to create a solid model. To do this, we can go back to the Surface panel and select Stitch. We can left-click and drag to select all the surfaces. We can select Apply, and then Done, and you can see we have a solid model. The reason this is important is we can now apply modeling actions to this solid model. For example, we can shell this out by selecting the bottom face and then selecting OK, and you can see we now have a hollow, solid model that could be used for manufacturing.